What happens when love and duty collide? In this heartfelt story, police officer Lee faces an impossible choice between his loyal heart and his sister's stern expectations. His elder sister insists he must part ways with Sam, a humble, orphaned girl, believing Lee deserves a partner of equal status. Yet Sam's unwavering kindness and quiet devotion have already captured his heart, creating a bond deeper than friendship. Can love survive societal boundaries, or must they remain just friends? Stay tuned because this tale of loyalty, sacrifice, and unspoken feelings will tug at your heartstrings. Don't forget to subscribe for more touching stories. Lee's elder sister, a woman of impeccable poise and unwavering principles, had always taken it upon herself to guide her younger brother, especially when it came to matters of the heart. That afternoon, she requested Lee to join her in the drawing room, her expression a mixture of concern and determination. The sunlight streaming through the tall windows cast long shadows across the polished floor, yet her eyes were fixed firmly on him, sharp and unyielding. "Lee," she began, her voice calm yet edged with authority, "you need to listen to me carefully." Lee, sensing the gravity in her tone, straightened his posture, his heart already heavy with the silent understanding that a serious conversation was about to unfold. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle before continuing. "Sam, I know you care for her, and I know she is dear to you. But Lee, you are a man of honor, a police officer entrusted with the law and the respect of this community. You carry not only your duty, but the reputation and expectations that come with your position. Sam, she is a kind girl, yes, but she comes from a humble background, orphaned, with little standing in society. She is gentle, hardworking, and sweet, and I cherish her as a person, but she is not the woman who can walk beside a man of your station, who can share the burdens and expectations of your world." Her words were measured, but the undercurrent of urgency was unmistakable. She spoke not to belittle Sam, but from a belief deeply ingrained in her that Lee deserved a life of stature, a partner who could match his social and professional standing. Lee felt a pang of conflict, a storm of emotions brewing quietly beneath his composed exterior. He had always admired his sister's wisdom and respected her guidance, yet he could not suppress the warmth in his heart whenever Sam's name crossed his mind. The thought of her laughter, her quiet resilience, the way she had supported him during long, exhausting nights of duty, all of it pressed upon him like a gentle yet insistent weight. And yet, here she was, gently but firmly urging him to reconsider, to look beyond feelings and embrace reason. "You must understand, Lee," his sister continued, her tone softening just enough to reveal her care beneath the sternness. "I want you to be happy, but happiness must also be wise. You deserve someone who can walk beside you not only with love, but with shared understanding of your world. Someone who can uphold the honor you embody as a police officer. Sam will always hold a place in our hearts, and we will always care for her. But as a life partner, I fear she cannot provide what you need, what your life demands." Lee remained silent, the weight of her words pressing upon him, yet mingled with an ache that tugged at his conscience. He wanted to argue, to defend Sam, to explain that love did not require social standing, that hearts connected in ways titles and wealth could never define. But as he looked into his sister's eyes, so full of unwavering care and protective concern, he realized that this was more than just guidance. It was a boundary, a line drawn with love and worry. He exhaled slowly, the conflict raging within him, knowing that his heart and reason were poised on opposite sides of a delicate, painful divide. Sam, unaware of the intense conversation unfolding in Lee's home, moved through her small, sunlit apartment with a quiet grace that reflected her humble upbringing. Every item in her space carried the mark of careful thought and effort, from the neatly folded clothes to the little potted plants she tended with gentle hands. She had always believed that life was a mosaic of small gestures, helping a neighbor, offering a comforting word, or preparing a simple meal for someone in need. It was in these modest acts of kindness that she found purpose, never imagining that her quiet existence could one day intersect with the life of someone like Lee. Her thoughts drifted inevitably to him, to the police officer who had become so much more than a colleague in her eyes. He was steadfast, principled, and yet possessed a warmth that few could see beneath the uniform. To Sam, Lee was not merely a man of duty or a figure admired by the community. He was someone who inspired her, who had lifted her spirits in moments of despair, who had stood by her when the world seemed indifferent. Yet, deep down, she understood the invisible barrier between them. She was an orphaned girl from a modest village, someone who had struggled to carve out her place in a world that often favored birthright and status. And Lee, he was everything she could admire, but never hoped to claim as her own. Despite this understanding, Sam could not deny the quiet longing that lingered in her heart whenever she thought of him. She cherished the conversations they shared, the small adventures through rain-soaked streets, and the late-night talks that revealed glimpses of his dreams and fears. Every interaction left an indelible mark, weaving an unspoken bond that went beyond friendship. She knew, however, that love sometimes required restraint, and she was determined to honor the unspoken rules of propriety, to safeguard their connection without overstepping the fragile boundaries of reality. Yet, even as she maintained this careful distance, Sam found herself acting as a silent guardian in Lee's life. She anticipated his needs, offered support when he returned weary from long nights on duty, and carried an almost instinctive understanding of when he required comfort versus encouragement. Her presence was steady, like a soft light in a dim corridor, and she never sought recognition for the quiet sacrifices she made. In her mind, this was her way of loving him without claiming him, of protecting what they had while accepting the impossibility of more. Still, there were moments when her heart ached, a quiet pang that no one could see. She longed for a life where love was not dictated by social station or circumstance, where connection mattered more than pedigree. But in the silence of her apartment, she reminded herself that perhaps the truest form of affection was the one that allowed the other to thrive even from a distance. She smiled faintly at this thought, acknowledging the bittersweet nature of her devotion. And so she continued, helping, caring, observing, cherishing their friendship as a precious, unspoken promise, and knowing that even if fate denied them love, it could never diminish the bond that had quietly grown between them. Days passed after the heavy conversation with his sister, and Lee felt the weight of her words pressing on his heart with every step he took. He had tried to focus on his duties, patrolling the city streets, and resolving disputes with the same meticulous care he always had, yet his mind kept wandering to Sam, the girl whose laughter lingered in his memory, whose unwavering kindness had carved a quiet place in his life. Finally, he knew he could no longer avoid the inevitable. He needed to speak to her, to confront the tangled threads of affection, duty, and reality that bound them together. One evening, he found Sam sitting on a park bench beneath the golden glow of the setting sun, the soft rustle of leaves creating a serene cocoon around them. She looked up as he approached, a gentle smile playing on her lips, unaware of the storm brewing in his chest. For a moment, he simply stood there, taking in her presence, the simplicity of her appearance, the warmth radiating from her, the way she seemed to belong in every quiet, beautiful corner of the world, except in the life he had been trained to lead. His throat tightened, and he forced himself to speak, voice steady despite the turmoil within. "Sam," he began, pausing to find the right words, "I need to tell you something important. My sister, she's right in many ways. You are extraordinary, kind, and brave, and you've brought light into my life in ways I cannot even explain. But we cannot be together. Not in the way my heart longs to. We are from two different worlds, and I cannot let my feelings for you compromise the life I am meant to lead." Sam's eyes widened slightly, a shadow of sadness passing over her features, yet she remained silent, waiting for him to continue. Lee drew a deep breath, the words tasting bitter on his tongue. "I care for you deeply, more than I can say. But love in our circumstances would only bring pain. You deserve someone who can stand beside you without conflict, without the weight of duty and expectation pressing down on every choice you make. I cannot be that person, not fully." For a moment, silence stretched between them, heavy with emotion, until Sam finally spoke, her voice soft but steady. "Lee, I understand. I've always known, deep down, that our paths were different. I've cherished every moment we've shared, and I would never want to stand in the way of your duty or happiness. Friendship, support, and being there for each other, that is enough for me." She smiled, a bittersweet curve of her lips, and he felt both relief and sorrow wash over him. Lee reached out and took her hand gently, a silent vow passing between them. "We will continue to help each other, to care for each other in ways that matter. And though my heart aches, I will honor the bond we share, keeping it pure and true." Sam nodded, eyes glistening, and for the first time in days, Lee felt a calm settle over him. He realized that love did not always demand possession or proximity. It could also exist in respect, in quiet devotion, and in the willingness to let the other thrive even when circumstances forced separation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they sat together, side by side, knowing that some of the deepest connections are those nurtured in silence, patience, and unwavering friendship.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Lý Tử Sam Review. Vậy là trong tập phim hôm nay của chúng ta thì chị gái của cảnh sát Nhi không chấp nhận cho cảnh sát Nhi yêu Lý Tử Sam vì lý do là chị gái của Ly cảm thấy Sam và Nhi là không môn đăng hộ đối. Sam và Ly chỉ nên dừng ở mức độ tình bạn giúp đỡ lẫn nhau trong cuộc sống, còn tiến tới hôn nhân thì là không thể. Liệu rằng Ly có thuyết phục được chị gái mình đồng ý cho Ly và Sam ở bên nhau hay không? Tất cả những tình tiết hấp dẫn sẽ được kể ở câu chuyện tiếp theo, sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh Lý Tử Sam. Các bạn hãy bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh subscribe để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các tập phim sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh nha. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại. Bye bye.